The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Tualatin Valley, Oregon, on your new fire apparatus, job number 30053. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's go ahead and take a couple look at some of the images here of your apparatus, all different sides, and then we'll break down some of the components within your apparatus. Congratulations once again on your Ford F550. Let's go ahead and start with the front bumper of your apparatus. There are two closed tow hooks located in the very front, black in color. Moving up from that location, you'll find your headlight cluster, high and low beams. Moving up to the top of the headlight cluster, you'll find an additional turn indicator. Moving inward of that location onto the grille area next to the Pierce and Ford logo, you will find forward-facing emergency lights. Just underneath the hood, you will find, once the hood has been released inside the cab, this is where the latch will be to release the hood mechanism fully. On the outer edges, you'll find turn indicators. On the inside, you're going to find a two-position mirror, one convex and the other flat. Up on the top of the brow of the apparatus, you'll find your running lights. Moving further up, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located in the center of your emergency warning light bar, you'll find your opticom. Located on the right and left body of the vehicle and also in the rear, you'll find fixed mounted floodlights. Close up here of those emergency warning lights in the very front, and then here's a close up of the front bumper area with those tow hooks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the side of the apparatus. On the side, you're going to find an emergency warning light in the very front fender. Also located at the points of entry for personnel, you'll find perimeter lighting. Up onto the top, once again, you'll find your side-facing turn indicator. Moving up to the back, the two front lights are going to be fixed to the apparatus, and the two rear are going to be portable. You also have electric door locks and also a keyed lock. Moving underneath, you'll find the ability to lock the front hub. This is the location to activate your front hub. Here's a close-up of that image for free or lock. Close up here of your mirror control. These mirrors also push it to collapse in. Generalized view here at the top of the apparatus indicating the light bar and that opticom. Let's go ahead and take a look at the body of the apparatus. Once again, you've got four floodlights located, two in the front fixed on the body and two in the rear that are portable. Also side-facing scene lights. Close up here of those forward-facing ones, the same concept with the ability to release the mechanism. It is through the tightening and loosening of this to allow it to telescope in the up or downward position and lock it into that position. Taking a look at the back of the apparatus, you can see that side facing, and also you can see an emergency warning light next to the very rear section. We're looking at the body now, the side. This is going to be your auto eject shore power inlet. Just to the rear of that, to the rear wheel area, you'll find an emergency side facing warning light, and then you'll find your fill location for fuel. We'll talk a little about some of the latches and how those operate. Let's first take a look at the compartments itself. The latch, this is a single pull latch. Once that latch is twisted and rotated, it will allow you to open one door, reach inside to allow you to release the second mechanism inside. Your shoreline inlet is a 20 amp auto eject plug. When the key is in the ignition and turned on, it will auto eject the plug that's into that outfit. This is a gasoline vehicle. As you can see, it's indicated by gasoline only. Take a look at the side of the vehicle with the compartment doors open. We'll talk a little bit about the components in each one of these compartments. Let's first start with the upper section here, which would be closest to the front of the cab, and we'll start with the front portion. Looking inside the compartment, you'll find this track system for adjustable shelves and also interior lighting. As you can see, this is the first pull of that first door. It is open. Once you make the second pull, the second door will open. This is going to be a through compartment in the very front section or bulkhead of the cab. Looking overhead in this compartment, you'll find your Pro Mariner 1260P. This is going to be a 12-volt electronic onboard digitally controlled performance charging system. Also looking in this compartment, you're going to find a variety of different shelf configurations. In this configuration, you can see it's a through compartment. There's also the ability for a pull-out shelf here. The mechanism here is the black latch to allow that mechanism to open and close. As you can see, there's the ability to mount tools on this compartment device. And as we look forward, there is also the mechanism here to allow that latch to be released and restored back to its original position on the right-hand side. General view here, the next compartment back, we're going to see two adjustable shelves in this location and also a pull-out shelf on the bottom. To access that pull-out shelf, on the right-hand side where the ball bearing wheel is, you'll find this mechanism which allows you to push and allows this shelf to be pulled in the outward position, as you can see here. To restore that back, same concept, push that latch, allowing it to slide back in its to original position. In the next compartment back, we're going to find two additional adjustable shelves. Once again, interior lighting in all of the compartments. In the very rear compartment at your apparatus, you'll find a pull-out shelf. Same mechanism for releasing. This is going to have a silver type latch here. Push down on that latch itself, allowing that shelf to be pulled to the outward position. To restore, same mechanism. This shelf can be adjusted up or down depending on that rail system. Let's go ahead and take a generalized view here of the rear of the apparatus and the side, and we'll talk about some of the components here. Let's first down at the lower left-hand side, as it is on the right side. This is your cluster of turn, brake, emergency, and also backup. Moving up from that, you'll find a cluster of switches. We'll cover those in just a moment. You'll also find some rear scene lights located here. And then as we look, the larger section here, these are a tripod system to allow you to have your portable lights removed from the apparatus. There's also grab rails on each side, and at the very top, emergency warning lights. There are also some indicators here for warning or advising people not to ride on the apparatus. Please familiarize yourself with those, in addition with step lighting to ensure your footing. Underneath that step lighting, you'll also find a lever here, which allows you to drain your tank, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Underneath, you also have some attachment points or tow hooks, and in the very center, a center step. Let's go ahead and move through some of those components that we just talked about, and then we'll break into the components of the pump next. First, taking a look at the general view here of the cluster to the rear. This is your brake, turn, reverse, and scene. And you have driver scene and also your rear lights and passenger scene lights. As you can see at the very top, this is the mechanism to allow you to remove that portable light, pull that black latch, allowing it to detach from the apparatus, remove it from there, and there are also plugs on it. Underneath the apparatus, there are perimeter lighting in the rear, and also a step cutout here in the very center. Moving to the right, this is that valve we talked about. This is the master drain. This is a twist, not a pull. And as we talk a little bit about the components of the pump, let's start in the upper left-hand corner. First, we'll start with your pressure gauge here. Moving to the right, you'll find the choke and also at the top a panel light. Moving down, you have an oil indicator. That is a red indicator if lit. Moving to the left here, you'll see your throttle control. Moving over to the switch, rotates. This is the ignition. And then you have a 30 amp breaker, which is a push on. You'll see it extended out. As we look down, the next set of controls is the fuel gauge. And then moving down from there in the blue section, this is your onboard water tank. Moving further down to the pull handle and also the primer, you'll find those two just beneath the main ignition. Let's go ahead and move around to the area regarding the pump and its components, and also talk a little about the engine. On the side near the water tank, you'll find your pump compartment light. That is a switch for those compartment lights. Let's talk a little bit about the engine. This is your dipstick here for oil. As we move to the left, this is going to be your oil fill location. Let's go ahead and also talk about some of the components here regarding the pump itself. As you can see in the very back is the black tank. This is going to be your tank to pump, yellow lever here, and then this 2.5 inch is going to be your tank inlet. As we move up to the very top, this is going to be the discharge port to the rear. And then as we move just up into the front, you'll see this is the tank refill. You can see that hose going back into the tank. Here are some of those components. This is the rear inlet once again, 2.5 inch going into the tank. It's indicated also by the lever here in yellow, marked tank to pump. Also looking at the very top, this is that rear discharge, indicated in yellow at the very top here by rear discharge. And then we'll move further. This is going to be behind the engine. This is the tank fill and recirculating line. This is going to be your separate gasoline only for the engine in the back. And then this is the fill for your water tank that's also mounted in the back of your vehicle. Generalized view here, the side of the apparatus. We'll talk about some of the components on this side. Similar lighting packages on left and right side, but the compartment configuration is slightly different. In the very back, you can see you have a pull-out toolbar compartment. It is adjustable side to side. It also has the ability to have this toolbar be pulled outward. That's the Lecker mechanism to allow that latch to be pulled outward. Let's move to the next compartment. You can see you have 2 adjustable shelves in this area. Just beneath this compartment, you'll also find an emergency warning light, and at the very bottom, a warning label regarding hot exhaust temperatures. And moving forward to this location, you can see you have 2 fixed shelves, and at the very bottom, a pull-out shelf. Let's go ahead and move just to the cab area here. This is the first compartment that we talked about. This is the through compartment, which houses the shelving and also the pull-out tool shelf. It can be pulled out from either side. And then generalized view here, the front section of the body. Once again, same configuration as the other side with the fixed lights in the front and removable lights in the back. One thing I didn't talk about, common Ford vehicle is a 2-part mirror, flat at the top, convex at the bottom, controlled from within inside the cab, driver's side. Let's go ahead and move now to the driver's compartment. As we enter into that door, you'll find some warning labels here, and there are also additional caution labels in this area. Just beneath those labels near the door latch, you'll find this yellow placard at the very base. This placard is helpful information regarding your apparatus. It's going to have a variety of different things on it. This is going to house your date of manufacture, the job number for this vehicle, also the VIN number. And then it's also going to provide you with gross vehicle weight ratings, tire pressures for cold tire inflation, and it also has all of the individual fluid capacities on the left-hand side for the device, fluid capacity, and the fluid type. Let's now move up to the top here. We can see those warning labels. In addition, there are also, just as any vehicle, controls on the left-hand side for the locking of the vehicle, and also window controls. Up onto the actual portion of the window, you'll also find mirror control. Located as you first step into the vehicle, you'll find the battery master switch on-off. Generalized view here of the cab of the apparatus. Same configuration as most Fords are. There are some exceptions here, and we'll talk about those in the next set of images, and those are some of the custom options that you have for your vehicle. All right, we'll go ahead and now talk a little bit about some of those functions here as we move downward on the dash itself. As you can see, you have some programmable auxiliary 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are for the vehicle itself, in addition with your slider for your trailer brake if you choose to have that. There is a 12-volt option here, barrel style, but let's move actually down to the center section between the passenger and the driver, and we'll find this console at the very top. You have a battery on switch, 2 indicators for door open and low voltage. You also have a red rocker switch indicator for the high idle and an indicator that's green that says OK to engage the high idle. At the very top, there is going to be a light here for panel light. On the left, you'll find the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating, and you also have the job located on that placard. That's as it comes out from the factory with all of those items in the stored position. Here's a generalized view of the set of switches here, and we'll talk about those components next. First, emergency master, light bar, opticom, front side warning, rear warning, and also your load manager. All of these switches have an indicator when they are on, they illuminate green. Let's move down to the next set of switches. As we look at this, you'll find from left to right the perimeter lighting. Those are the lights under the vehicle. Driver scene, driver flood, rear scene, passenger scene, and also passenger flood. Generalized view here of the rear section of the cab. These seats at the bottom do fold up. Underneath there is storage, and also on this side you can see a barrel style 12-volt access point. Once again, all points of entry to this vehicle are going to have warning labels regarding your apparatus, and also the reflective tape at the bottom for your door in open positions. Let's go ahead and move inside of the passenger area. At about the left knee of the passenger, you'll find these two plugs. First, the 12-volt USB style, and then lower beneath that 12-volt USB, you'll find a barrel style. Just underneath that, you'll also find an audible warning. As we're looking now, we're in the driver's section, and this is going to be for your four-wheel drive. Emergency brake on the left, center is going to be the master brake, and on the right, your accelerator or foot treadles. This is your hood release on the left-hand side, and first, congratulations to Tualatin Valley on your new apparatus, job number 30053. If you have any questions regarding this vehicle or the content of this video, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Congratulations and good luck.